to swing it out to Hampton. He had no threat at that tight end position, and Brown gives him now that dimension.
He can block, he can catch. He comes from a program like Notre Dame, and now he's a Giant. The Jets are up next, but before we do that, there are two tight ends we've talked about. Another guy named Johnny Mitchell from Nebraska, who, as we kick it over to Chris Fowler and Mike Gottfried, maybe, Coach, you might think that Mitchell might even be better than Brown. Clarify it.
Well, Chris, I think Johnny Mitchell is a great tight end. I think he's the nugget of this draft. I think he can do so many things, Chris. He can catch the football. There's a knock that he can't block. He has never started a game in Nebraska, but he has so much talent. You learn how to block through repetition. Whatever team takes him will teach him. He'll be a great player. I think he's the golden nugget in this draft. I like Derek Brown, but I think Johnny Mitchell can also be a fullback.
So Brown the golden domer, but Mitchell the golden nugget in your mind.
Golden nugget
Amazing
in this
to see a
draft.
tight end from Nebraska has got a weakness as a blocker. If that's true, why do you like the guy so much? He hasn't proven he can block yet. He may be able to.
Yeah,
What's the best thing about him?
He can block. That's a knock on him that he doesn't really deserve. They have some talent out there, and they use some other people in first down situations, and he played in passing situations, but he really has only played 2 years for Tom Osborne. I talked to those guys this week. They're very high on him, but as I said, I'll stick with it. And when we look back in this draft 5 years from now, you watch and see Johnny Mitchell contributes.
What about Derek Brown? Does he work out with the Giants?
Oh, I think it's a good choice. I think he's another strong blocker. Don't go by his statistics. If you went by Michael Jordan's statistics when he was in North Carolina, as a basketball player, you wouldn't see what he's doing today. Derek Brown can catch the football. He can block. He can get down the middle, catch the ball against too deep coverage, so he's a good choice.
All right, the folks that share the stadium with the Giants, the Jets up next. Let's go back to Chris.
All right, Chris and Coach, thank you very much. The Giants now, 6 straight years, guys, have gone offense in the first round, starting with 87. You want me to sing it? Mark Ingram, he went in 87. Eric Moore in 88. Brian Williams in 89. Rodney Hampton in 90. Gerard Bunch in 91. Ray Handley says he was going to do it his way. Not so much the grind him out Parcells style. Hey, we're going to move the ball. So maybe this, again, affirmation that we're going to sink or swim and do it my way, and picking the tight end is a way to get the offense going rather than solidify the D.
Well, reinforcing a little bit what Joe said, you know, both of those quarterbacks, Phil Simms and Hostetler, are both great, short, accurate throwers. This gives them another outlet as a receiver, so a big target, somebody, whenever you're in trouble, you're going to be able to actually look around and say, here's a guy who's always going to be open, and hit him with the football.
Joey, I mean, it's a Notre Dame guy, so I know where you stand, I think.
Oh, yeah, there's no question. I believe for sure he was going to be a first-round pick, and there were enough people in the first round that needed tight ends. One of the things they mentioned about Derek Brown was the fact that he was underused at the University of Notre Dame. He'll come back, and I will as well argue with you that there was another pretty good tight end by the name of Jackson who only had 62 catches in his college career at Oklahoma. Now his name is Keith, and he's with the Philadelphia Eagles and considered all-world. Not that Derek Brown's going to jump right into that mold, but you give the kid the right opportunity to play. First of all, he comes out of a great school with a great work ethic. He knows how to play big-time football. He's been exposed to big-time football. He understands the philosophy of going out and what it's going to take to be a professional. Those are intangibles that you can't drill into a kid. He has to have them. He has them. Fits right into the Giants system. I don't think there's any question that we're going to see him start. You got to remember one other thing. The tight end position today in football is not just a one-man position. The Redskins utilize 3 and 4 different players for the tight end position. Derek Brown may have a skill that develops higher than another. They may use him more as split him out as a little tight end, put him into running attacks. Let the other guys do the blocking. The game has become all specialized. I think it'll work out very well for him and the Giants.
The Jets are next up, and the way the board works out is not exactly what they would have wanted. They may be talking a swap with San Francisco. We'll find out in a moment.
Point of fact. It takes the average person an average of 20 keystrokes to do an average task with their PC. Counterpoint. You can do it with just a point and click with Microsoft Windows.
It began not with a clean sheet of paper, but with a 75-year history. A history of building automobiles that make the most of the driver's skill. Because how you drive is as important as what you drive.
Was because of sports, because you use your time constructively and it pays off that way. Whereas now, all these things where I grew up at, they're cut. They are no more. And since then, you know, the gang problem has escalated.
Hold it now!
There's no places for you to go to do anything positive, so the negativity is what takes over. I was lucky that that I got a scholarship, you know, to a major university. And after my time at San Diego State, I came back to South Central, where I started teaching, and my neighborhood had totally changed. I mean, you know, there was crack on the street at that time. It had torn people's lives.
Great skill positions at the receivers. They got good running by the way Blair Thomas to emerge. They've got outstanding physical defensive backs. They would like a linebacker, Mel. He's not there. They would like another big pass rusher to complement Logman. I'm not sure that they're that high on the guys that are left there. They would like a tight end. They would have liked Derek Brown. It kind of didn't fall the way for the Jets. They didn't get lucky like Shula did a little ahead.
They really didn't when you really look at it. Right now, you see Chester McLaughlin still there. The Raiders evidently high on him. We talked about Pickens maybe lasting to the Broncos pick near the end of the first round. So you can see in that top 10 some good players, McLaughlin and Pickens, still on the board. And see the defensive backs. You're going to have a run on defensive backs starting very quickly. Dale Carter, Kevin Smith. Chuck Smith is the one guy, Chris. I'll tell you, I talked about Marco Coleman earlier as being a great football player. He's a guy who can get after the quarterback. You see Williams, the #1 running back, which is debatable, either Dunbar or Tony Smith. Spellman, the guy who has a great talent but doesn't produce the results expected. But Chuck Smith, the outside linebacker at Tennessee, some people call him a projection. I call him a great football player. And I think he will be an ideal pick for a team looking to get some heat on the quarterback, be it the Jets or whoever. He's going to be one of the ultimate steals at the end of this first round or even into the second. But Johnny Mitchell's the interesting guy. Great speed, athletic ability, runs like a wide receiver, catches like a wide receiver. If you're considering Derek Brown, I don't know how you can't consider Johnny Mitchell at this point.
Well, he's a very good ball player. And the Jets, I'm going way back here, which I think I'm qualified to do here with Jets. 20 years ago, they drafted both, well, Jerome Barkham was drafted as a wide receiver, later became a tight end. Richard Castor was once a tight end, became a wide receiver. I'm not trying to say 20 years ago to now, but a receiving tight end, a guy that can go deep, is in the Jets' heritage. Now what they got to do is find a replacement for Joe Namath, I guess. As O'Brien, he'll probably be Browning Nagel. If he looks well this summer, Nagel will be their quarterback. Mitchell may be the highest up. The Jets have the pick. They're ready in the gallery.
See, there's Wesley Walker. There's Rob Moore, Lance Mel.
With the 15th choice, the New York Jets select Johnny Mitchell, tight end, Nebraska.
So New York becomes tight end. Wow. The Giants do one, the Jets fire back. I'll tell you what. The fans don't like it, but they don't know Johnny Mitchell. Richard Castor, Jerome Barkham, we go to history. Mel, we like the pick.
I don't see anything wrong with Johnny Mitchell. Was one of the fast risers when people started to work this guy out. At 262 pounds, he's running 4.6s. You watched him against Colorado, against Oklahoma this year, in an offense that didn't really stress the pro offense, a passing game. All he did was get downfield and make spectacular catches, run in the open field like a 195-pound wide receiver. You talk to Johnny, very well-spoken kid, very dedicated. He's out to prove to people that he's a far better blocker than he's given credit for. You see him here in the open field. Look at these moves. This is a 262-pound tight end who can beat cornerbacks man-to-man. You can move him out, flank him outside. Here is blocking ability. Turns the guy out on the running play by Nebraska. Getting downfield on a regular basis, extending his hands to catch the football. Here's a guy who can play football. If he can turn up the intensity level as a blocker, which Johnny claims he's ready to do, he could, in some NFL teams' minds, be the ultimate tight end in this draft and be a guy that can bring to the Jets what a Kellen Winslow brought to the Chargers.
You know, I mentioned Castor and Barkham. Really, in the 80s, Mickey Schuler was a very good, productive tight end for the Jets. But he's been gone for a couple of years, and they're the catches that Boyer, that Dressel had with the Chiefs. Pat was no day at the beach with Indianapolis. I mean, they don't have a lot there. All of a sudden, as they found that Buffalo can do by pressuring opposing defenses in that division, by running or passing, you now have Toon, Rob Moore, Johnny Mitchell to catch the ball. If Browning Nagel can deliver it, the Jets can put a lot of pressure and some heat on the Buffalo Bills. We'll be back in New York with the Raiders pick in a moment.